On the second page here is just same types of problems. We're just talking just different amounts and different payments and different interests. So the numbers just changed, process is the same. So number 3 says, suppose you borrow $60,000 to go to college. The bank charges interest at an annual rate of 5.8% compounded monthly. Your monthly payment on the loan will be $658. So again, recursive definition for part A. We start with how much we're borrowing for college, $60,000. Okay, so those who think about going to college, this is, if you're going to have this much debt, you're going to see how much it's actually going to cost you here. So now, U sub n equals U sub n minus 1. Now we remember how we do this. We start with 1. Here we have the interest rate compounded monthly. So we're going to add 0.058, but it's being divided by 12. So once the interest is added to the $60,000, we get to subtract that monthly payment of $658. So now question 2 says, find the balance after 24 months. So how much do you still owe after 2 years? So we want to find U sub 24 again. So I need to enter this in on my calculator. So I'm going to pull up the calculator once again. I'm going to go to my y equals here, and I'm going to be a little bit smarter on this. So when I get to this past the multiplying, I'm just going to hit my delete button and clear it out. I think it's a little bit easier. That way I can type it in a little bit easier. So I'm going to go 1 plus 0.058 divided by 12, close my parenthesis, and then I get to subtract my monthly payment of $658. Use my cursor, go to the bottom, change the starting value from what it said there before, I think 15,000 to 60,000. So that was the previous problem. Now I'm going to go to my table set because it's definitely going to be on a different number from the previous problem. I'm going to start at 24 and then I can go to my table. So it'll take a second to calculate it out, and sure enough, it tells me that I still owe, after 2 years, I still owe $50,659.24. So I've been paying my college loans for 2 years and I'm still $50,000 in debt. So now the next fun challenge is, how many months does it take to pay off your student loans? If you take $60,000 and divide it by $658, didn't need a comma there, that's going to give you an estimation at least of where to at least start. So that one's not easy to do right off the top of my head, but 60,000 divided by 658 tells me that I should at least start at maybe minimum 92 months. I'm going to be paying interest for a long time. So when I'm going to go to my table set here, I might even start at 100 just to see where it's at. So I'm going to go to my table. I'm going to look at it. It takes the calculator a minute or two to figure it out. Wow, even at 100, I still owe $12,000. Notice how even 6 more months, it's only down to $9,000. So I might go back to my table set and say, wow, 100 wasn't enough. Maybe I'm going to go to 120. Go to my table now. Let's see what happens at 120. Takes a second to think about it. Sure enough, that was a good guess. And I got 120 and 121. So it actually took 121 months. If I think about that, if I divide that by 12, that's a little bit over 10 years. And usually college loans take about 10 years to pay off. So I'm just going to note here on my calculator here at month 120 and 121. At month 120, there was $342.52 left, and then this was negative $313.82. So on month 121, I overpaid by that $313.82. So D again says, how much did I actually pay for the loan? So I was paying $658. I did that for 121 months, but on that 121 month, or that last month, I overpaid by $313.82. So to go to college, my $60,000 in loans will actually cost me $79,304.18. So you know how they say, oh, you can just take out loans for college. Think twice about it. It's going to cost you in the long run. Now, I know for some of you it might be the only way, but just be prepared that you're going to have to pay a lot more than the amount that you're borrowing over time. All right, last one. Number 4 is just another credit card with a little bit higher interest rate and a bigger monthly payment. So you're borrowing $25,000, annual interest rate of 18.9 monthly, and your monthly payment is $950 a month. You're going to do that until the car is paid off and not charge anything. That's the key, not charging anything. So our starting value was $25,000. Our U sub n equals U sub n minus 1. So we go 1 plus. Our interest rate was 18.9%. Some credit cards are in the 22% range. So even 18.9 I think is high. But anyway, getting back here, we're going to divide it by 12. So we add the interest, then subtract out the monthly payment. So now, again, the B is doing the same thing it asked for after 2 years. So remember, 2 years is 24 months, since we're talking monthly. So I got to go to my calculator, go to my y equals, change my formula here. So I'm going to, delete this all out. So times parentheses, 1 plus 0.189 divided by 12, close the parenthesis box, but I'm going to subtract 950. It's kind of nice. Now my loan was not $60,000, but $25,000. So now, whoops, I hit table, and it's going to think for a long time because it went to 120 months. So that's good. That, notice how you can see how that's big time negative. I wanted to go to the table set and start it at month 24. Now if I go to my table, that's more like it. I still owe on that account, wow. Is that right? Let me just check something really quick with my y equals. So just want to make sure I typed in everything correctly. So divided by 12 minus 950. Okay, so that looks right. So if I go back to my table, that's interesting. Okay, I was wondering why that wasn't showing up night. So I still have left here $8,928.08. So I still owe $8,000 after 24 months. So now, if I think about kind of the logic behind this here, I want to think, all right, 25,000. If I divide it by 950, but I know the interest is kind of a lot. So, whoops, wrong page, just what you don't want to see, just what you want to see, the YouTube stuff. So, sorry, I want to grab my calculator. So if I go 25, I want to exit out of here. My calculator's got some buttons that it's kind of holding on to. There we go. All right, so if I go 25,000 and divide it by 950, I'm guessing that's going to put me at about 26 months. But we know it's going to be a lot more with the interest, and just I still owe after that much. So I'm going to probably start at, since I still owe 9,000, I know I got at least 9 to 10 more months, so maybe I'm going to start it at 35. So I'm going to go to my table set. Whoops, starts having some issues here. So I'm going to start it at 35 and see where I'm at. Takes a minute. Okay, so I actually was right dead on at month 35 there. So if I scroll backwards, I can go and note that it gets paid off in 35 months. So now, just to kind of note from my calculator here, notice how it's 235.83 and then negative 710.46. Oh, negative 710.46, and that was the 35th, 34th. Sorry, calculator said 235.83. 235.83. So, how much did I actually pay on the $25,000 credit card? This is going to surprise you. $950 times 35, and then I'm going to subtract the 710.46. Well, let's just throw up my calculator real quick here. Exit out. So we did $950. We times that by 35 months, but we get to subtract the 710.46. So we actually paid $32,000. What was that? $539.54. Wow, that's a lot of money. But look at that, they're charging you 18.9% interest, which is a lot. All right, that completes chapter 1.